And what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another exciting edition of the SOTL, the StarCraft Southeast Asia Team League. Today, we're just going to get right into things. Do you know why? Because we got 9 games to pop out tonight, and we're going to do it right about now. Got this all-kill format, so starting things off for our players, in the top corner, it is SYF Gaming's Mighty Kiwi. One of the best New Zealand players alive today, and he is showing everyone how to do it against the new Zerg opponent. Representing Varun 5, it is Iagas. So while we get this game underway, it is great to see everybody here again for another edition. This is the third place match, excuse me. So it will be a best of 9 to see who will walk home with that third place trophy. Next week will be the finals for this tournament, and that will be against 1F Pro. And I can't remember the other team. It is escaping me, so I apologize for that. But it will be an exciting series nonetheless. These two, some of the best players ever before seen in the region. Iagas, of course, having that pedigree coming into it. And Mighty Kiwi, obviously he's been very strong in many matchups, especially as a kind of cheesy player. But right now, it does look like he is going to be following it up, that reputation, with a little bit of aggression here. Got 8 lings, we'll move across the map, try and get some damage done. Hopefully gets to cancel that hatch first build from Iagas. One thing to note about the map is it's very macro oriented, so a lot of the time strategies like this will not go very well, especially now that Mighty Kiwi is going to be taking a more roundabout approach to attempt to avoid overlords. But overall, he should be able to get at least a couple of pokes off, but like I said, this is a very long rush distance map, so that hatchery is already complete, and there will be enough lings to defend against this. On the plus side, for Mighty Kiwi, he will have that speed much quicker, so it will be a lot easier to kind of force his opponent off of the creep to make full surrounds. But here we go, he's going to start poking up on this hatchery. Zerg drones will have to be pulled, and Mighty Kiwi must now back off. His aggression has not done what it needs to do. Iagas is going to get that defensive Baneling nest behind this to make sure that he does not die to any follow-up aggression, as Mighty Kiwi is going very heavily into this while getting his second base. Just getting some pokes off here and there. He really does not want to get these lings trapped in that corner pocket, so he is being very careful with them, even just coming out here waiting for the reinforcement, which Iagas does see with his overlord spotted. And while Mighty Kiwi does have a small period where he does have full map control, he really can't do very much without really good micro, and we are at that stage in the game where those Baneling hits are going to make you very scared to move up ramps. Very difficult as well to get much damage done as he starts to drone up behind this. So this really will be the only Zerglings he'll be making for right now, and it's more just to threaten his opponent, who is scanning around for them, trying to make sure that his opponent is not out on the map. But he is going to move up the ramp once again, sees the Spore Crawler, and will back off for the moment. So behind that little drone build, he will be making some more lings, trying to be a bit more aggressive while adding on his own Banelings. So this is actually pretty good for him right now, just because Iagas has really been contained in his 2-base setup here. If we take a look at the income now, it's not really in Mighty Kiwi's favor. It is still in Iagas because he was able to get more drones out, and as you can see, he does feel safe enough to just sneak out a couple of drones here and there. So what will Mighty Kiwi's decision be? Obviously he's droning up behind it as well, so we may be going into a bit of a longer game. Might get to that second stage where we will be seeing either roaches or mutas if they so choose. But yeah, Mighty Kiwi probably will not have enough to move up that ramp now that Igas is in the defensive setup. And there we go. We do see that Roach Warren going down for Mighty Kiwi. He is already transitioning. He is ready for the next stage in this game. Igas also going for Lair Tech, sneaking out drones when he can, but also playing very safe, knowing that Mighty Kiwi might go in for even more aggression. He has been known to be a bit of an all-in, but a huge Banelink connection there, taking out so many Lings, and that is really going to allow Igas to kind of break his contain and get out on the map. Move up, take a third base if he so chooses. So really good connection there, costing Mighty Kiwi quite a bit of map presence, and he will have to back off for the time being. Igas does look like he wants to be a bit aggressive here as well, kind of put Mighty Kiwi in the same position he was in, sniping off a couple of Banelings as well. That is very nice. Also gets a confirmation that those roaches are indeed there. Huge connections once again. So Igas even just going to move in here for the drone line. He's going to get 5 so far, and the damage is just done for right now. Back at home, there are more than enough spine crawlers to defend any kind of roach aggression as well. And we do see Spire plus Roach Tech. So Igas is going to be looking to make a couple of Mutalisks, and what those will do is hopefully force an overreaction out of Mighty Kiwi. His real goal is to kind of shift into a transition of Hydralisks, which do not do very well against a big ball of roaches. And overall, it might be successful here if Mighty Kiwi is not really privy to what's going on. He's going to try and move in here, but once he sees the amount of spine crawlers, he will know something is up, because unless you're doing something very sneaky, you're not going to make that many spine crawlers to defend. But so far, it does look like Mighty Kiwi is going to be ready for it. Ready to move in. The Queen's out of position, so they're going to get a couple pokes off on him. Might even get one, but no, the transfuse does save it. And again, Kiwi can't really get up that ramp relatively easily. It's going to be a very Pyrrhic victory if he does try. Minos are on the way, only 9 so far. We'll have to see if he does decide to make any more. It'd be very strange if he did. But the Banelings are starting to go off. Not really the best connections, getting all on the roaches. But Mighty Kiwi's not connecting either, only getting on those spine crawlers, so Mighty Kiwi will have to get to retreat forward now as the Mutas do pop, and GG is actually called. So very nice plays out of Igas. He will move on, and Mighty Kiwi will be eliminated for the time being. The good thing, though, is we have 9 games. And since they don't have 9 players, you will probably be seeing Mighty Kiwi again. Especially since he's the best at cheesing players in the region. They might be using him in a do or die situation, which I would love to see. He does have some amazing builds. The next map, as you guys can see by the little overlay below us, is Odyssey LE. This map has been in there for a couple of times now, so people are starting to learn the ropes on it. It's a kind of a Zerg favored map once you get into that later stage of macro game because of that gold base. Gold base is a little bit easier to defend if you can get your creep out there as a Zerg player. But there are some small timings that players of other races can take advantage of, especially tank pushes. If they do decide to expand towards that gold base, because quite frankly, that position is very good for siege tanks, as I found out a couple of times. But we will have to see who Igas' opponent is. Due to the fact that this is all kill, the opposing side will get the opportunity to decide their next player. And we will figure that out as I kind of pull up some stats here to see what's going to be happening. Now, a couple of you might be wondering, since it is a best of 9, what will happen if we do get through 7 maps? Basically, it's just going to rotate. So Blackpink and Odyssey will come back for those 8th and 9th games. And depending on who the player is, we might see some more epic stuff. Looks like BattleNet is having a little bit of trouble here. But, yeah. So while we're waiting, how are you guys doing out there tonight? Hope you all having fun. Tonight for me, it is mid-afternoon for y'all. So you guys should be having fun as well. But I hope you guys are out there looking for StarCraft, because if you're not, you're kind of in the wrong stream for that. You know, we're kind of playing StarCraft here. But looks like the next player will be Wally for SYF Gaming. So Wally, I believe, is another a Zerg player. So let me see what I can pull up. Excuse me one moment while we get everything sorted out. But there we go. It does look like Wally is now in the lobby, so we should be getting underway here in a second. But yep, he's another Zerg player. He plays for 1F Pro Gaming usually, but for the purposes of this team league, he will be playing for SYF. And the players are readied up. So we're going to hop into Odyssey, one of the best maps of this map pool. Here we go. In a second, guys. I gotcha. But the players are loading in right now. ZVZ time, and once again, is just looking so powerful in that first game. We'll have to see if he can keep the streak alive for his team. And it should be very, very fun to see. Spawning in the top position. Up 1-0 for Varun 5. It's Aigas. And his opponent spawning down here, looking to end the streak before it begins. It's Wally. So we can kind of talk about the map for a second here while we wait for things to get underway, as it does appear to be a more macro style opening, going up to 17 drones. The second base, not much to see. Third base, you have the option of getting here or a semi-pocket expansion. The cost of this expansion is a little bit higher just because it's a little bit more open to a couple of different spots, as you can see here. This is a nice defensive spot. It's very hard to push into, but it does get you closer to this nice juicy gold expansion. This gold expansion can swing the favor in a macro game very relatively easily, and it's not as easy to defend as there is only one location. Well, actually it is pretty easy to defend as there is only one location where you can really move into as the opponent. Now we do see hatch first builds out of both players, followed by the spawning pool, so we won't really be seeing too much here in the early stages of the game. It's really going to come down to who is going to move across the map first and with what. Will the players decide to skip the Zergling beginning and just kind of macro up behind it, try and get those roaches out as quickly as possible to defend or attack, or will we kind of see that little first game dance where those Zerglings will be trying to get as much damage done as possible, keep your opponent on the back foot and force them to just make units with the very few larvae that they will have in the early stages. Does look like pretty similar builds out of both guys. Aiga's playing it a little bit safe here, getting that spine crawler and even just canceling it. So disregard that, as Wally is going to be going for that Baneling nest. Aiga's has not spotted this yet. He has not really moved in with his guy, but he does see the Lings moving out, as his own are going to retreat for the moment to get up that third base. And as you can see, it is closer to that gold expansion. So if the game goes on that long, then it will go into a bit of his favor, as third base is going to be delayed out of Wally in terms of timing. Baneling nest is scouted. I guess we'll get a nice scout around of what is going on here. The queen, not going to kill that off, but the Lings do the dirty job, so the queen can stay nice and pristine for the later stages. It's hard to be disgusting by puking on a building, so you gotta look your best while doing it. Now here's the part that we love to see. 12 Lings on the production tab, 10 Lings on the production tab, and Wally is moving across the map. Loses one Baneling to a rather untimely detonation here, but Aigas will try and get into position to defend this base. So far, he's going to get a decent round, but nice Baneling hits. Going to chew off just enough to really force Wally to back off here, as the Banelings are going to come in. But now it becomes the dance of death, and as you can see, 4 Banelings for the price of 2. It's pretty much a Black Friday ad, as these ones morphing are not going to get taken out. 1 HP on this cocoon. But those Banelings doing a nice job of zoning everything out. Still just little pieces here and there getting taken down, but Wally does not have enough for the moment. He has to back up for reinforcements, and Aigas is just zergling in that production tab. So he might try and get aggressive himself if he can push this back. That APM is going through the roof for both of these guys, as they know one small mismatch, one small move can cost them a huge amount of Lings, as we saw in the last game for Mighty Kiwi. But Wally not giving up just yet, but huge Baneling connections might force him to. It's just not Wally's day in terms of these hits. He's not really getting the detonations he wants, while Aigas is just getting them all day. You even see right now that he's going to be transitioning into that Roach Warren, droning up. And things are going to be going his way for right now, as he's going to push Wally back to his own little choke points. And just this battle is going on and on, trying to force Wally into the Banelings, but it's not going to work for right now. But yeah, really good stuff out of these guys so far. Neither side really getting a huge advantage, but Aigas just getting the better of these engagements. So far, if we take a look here, it is relatively even, 1600 to 1500. So these guys are really going at it relatively evenly. That's a nice rock, but that's not what I meant to follow. And this is the Zergling with a death wish, as Wally is going to move straight into the main base location. All the Lings are out on the map, so he will have to back off for right now and come home to defend this. But this is a lot of damage so far. The Queen in a good position. What really is he attacking here? I think he had it on hold position. Getting the Queen is nice, but it does look like he got taken out. Relatively cost inefficient. To be honest, that looked like it was going really well for him, but I'm wondering what happened there. It does. I guess he just pulled off a few too many units when it's coming in. Even trying to morph some Banelings here, it looks like. Getting maybe one more drone, 2 more drones. That does give him a huge income lead, as I guess did lose a little bit of mining time. Only getting six drones though for the amount of Lings that he wasted. Probably not the best. As Aigas is now up the layer, Wally is just now getting the lair of his own, almost halfway complete. I guess feels safe enough to just run up behind this, and looks like we will get to that second stage in the game, as both players are going to be going for that +1 attack. Losing my train of thought here, sorry guys. Just because these Ling Wars are pulling my attention all over the minimap. But now Wally is going to be the one to take a bit of damage. This entire third base location is going to be picked off, save for a couple of battered survivors, it looks like. Even trying to get on top of that queen, but got to back up for the banelings. Decent connection, it's going to help clean this up. The roaches going to pick off the few ones across the map, but now Wally does have a full surround, and I guess kind of overextended there. Losing a lot of roaches at this stage is not the best, especially when your gas income not really where you want it to be for this stage. So the big thing about Roach Wars is a lot of the time it comes down to numbers, but upgrades can really help in these early stages for defense. The big thing that both players want is to not take that decisive engagement until really you have the numbers and the upgrades to back yourself up. Because if you take a wrong engagement and lose a lot of your forces, not even Defender's advantage is going to save you. Take a look at the army supply. Wally is still ahead in that regard, but Aigis is catching up. Although that might change just with the addition of Wally's reinforcements. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But we are at that stage of the game where both players are really going to be focusing hard on just army units, as they do have that ideal economy built up among 3 bases. And Aigis does feel safe enough to move out. Aigis does not have any Ravagers with this force, so he will have to be the one dodging Biles, as his vision does get taken out with every Overlord killed. And Wally will do the pursue, as he has a large window actually for when this +2 is complete. Once that's done, he will take that upgrade lead. And then his numbers might actually just win him the game if Aigis is unable to get that even engagement. I'm just poking off a couple of units here. Aigis is making the right moves. He wants to make sure that he can get some damage done, force Wally to remain at home and defend his aggression while he builds up on his own side of the map. And both players now going to get some Hydro mixed in with this. But getting a couple picked off here, Aigis does have to back up. It's currently 132 to 94. Looks like Aigis is just going to pull back everything to defend. Gotta say, out of both players, I think Wally does have a bit better spread on these Overlords, getting a lot of vision out on the map, while Aigis is pretty bunched up with this for the time being. But Aigis, once again, taking a fight he does not really want to take. He needs to get up that ramp and get a good concave, even a surround. But a lot of his army is not fighting here, so he's going to start getting taken out. The reinforcements at the back about to pop. Did Wally overextend here actually? I don't know, but the fact that he's only attacking small chunks of Aigis' army at once, even the defenders are having a bit of a trouble getting overwhelmed here. Dances, and Aigis is taken out. Wally puts SYF on the board. A tremendous game, showing really how serious those Roach Wars can get once a player is maxed out. The next map, obviously, as you guys can see, will be Ascension to Ire. Which will be a very interesting map, as it is one of the ones that you see much more in tournaments, just because it has been around a long time. I'm looking at the stats here. 2008 games have been played on this map since its introduction. That's nothing to scoff at. It's only been in the map pool for, I think, 2 or 3 seasons. But we will have to see what the next choice is, as the team captain will be picking Seoris for the next map. Seoris being an exceptional player, hailing from Mongolia, if I believe correctly. Yep, he's a Zerg player, playing for Varun 5 right now. And yeah, we'll have to see if we have to change our server settings. Obviously, he is a Mongolian player, so we might have to change to SEA. Just depending. Although that is a little bit easier now that it's just click a button. Hashtag bad ping. So while we have a couple seconds here while he checks the map, I'd like to remind you guys, if you want to support this tournament, we got a little Matcherino code right down here. It changes every 15 minutes, so feel free to use it, guys. You just head to matcherino.com with the link. If you want it, you just type !Matcherino, and you will get the link to this tournament, from which you can use the code and donate $1 to this tournament. If you'd like to donate more as well, there are rewards for each tier of donation. They range from, you can play Archon mode with some of these training sessions. You can even have one of our excellent casters, Tenchi, who is a legitimate caster. He will cast your game, and he will have fun doing it. Do you know why? Because he can. We will be switching up a little bit here for these players. While we get into game. But I hope you guys are having an excellent evening. It is always great when we get to come out here and watch one of the best regions of StarCraft. And we will be hopping into Ascension 2 Ire. Current score is 1-1 for both teams. Let me just update that for you guys. But again, it will be a ZVZ. And it should be a good one. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this map. If you like it, if you don't like it. Let's hear your thoughts. Like, I've heard pretty mixed opinions on it, actually, but a lot of players do enjoy the fact that it is pretty even in terms of matchups. There are some players who say it is wildly unbalanced in some sides, but you know what? I'll let these guys be the deciders. Spawning up here in the top corner of Ascension, it's Seoris. And his opponent already getting that spawning pool down. It is a 12 pool, guys. Get ready for it. It is Wally. So Seoris probably has no idea this is coming. He is not sending a drone out on the map because really, why would you? A lot of the times 12 pools aren't going to come that quickly, but he will throw down his own spawning pool at an earlier time, not going for that hatch first, so he should be able to defend this a little bit easier. We will have to see, as those lings will pop out very soon for Wally. So let's see what can be done. Behind this, Seoris will throw down his second hatchery, and that will be Oh. Let's get into game. Sorry about that, guys. Try that again. This is Wally. This is Sioris. That's a 12 pool. Okay, now that I've caught everyone up, the second base here will be that point of contention between the two, as Wally's own second base is now getting up. If he is able to snipe this off, he will be in a much better position, but if it fails, he will be behind in terms of that worker count. He's already down 6 workers right now, and he is investing a lot into this. Not even having enough gas to start speed yet. He did spot this, I believe, with one of his overlords. Yep, he does see that those guys are there. So drones will have to be pulled here to defend against this. Problem is, a few too many were actually pulled there, so Sioris is not mining. That is the big thing to note here. So even though this isn't doing any real damage right now, only just getting some pokes off on that base right there, Sioris has lost a bit of time, and that might come back to bite him in the butt. Especially now. He's going to try and get us around here is Wally. 2 workers going down, a lot of lost mining time once again. But we're getting some spikes, it seems like, for Wally, so that might be affecting his judgment a little bit in terms of what to do. But now that Sioris has defended against this, he can still start to get that lead in workers up. He can start to make up for lost time, especially now that Wally is still committing to this. He's really almost all in with this, as we don't see any drones behind it. Even just kind of going defensive here with him, it looks like he's not really moving him out on the map. I might be waiting for speed to do anything else. But the Sioris is going to come in here and see that there are a lot of lings. And we'll have to see what his decision is. If he sees another round of them come out, then he will know that this is a pretty do or die situation for Wally, as he still is he has half the workers of Sioris. So it's really dicey. 1 worker going down here. Do a couple of lings. And that battling nest will not be finished as he's going to move in here right on top of those drones, getting on the top of the queens as well. They will both go down. And that actually might be it for Sioris here. He doesn't have the time to wait. 5 workers already going down. GG is called. So Wally putting the SYF boys up 2 games to 1 in this best of 9. But we'll have to see what Varun 5's next choice is. Will they go for another Zerg player? Obviously, this region is pretty Zerg heavy, actually. A lot of players do like those creepy bugs. But yeah, Wally is starting to look unstoppable here, taking out some of the best players in the region so far. Take a look at who they got on the roster for tonight, see what their possibilities are. Let's take a look here. So they still have Demilov, Goblin, Schnitzel, Vaj, Smile, and Sioris is the player you just saw get taken down. And Demilov, the team captain, has decided he will be the next one to fight in this epic campaign against the terrors of 1F Pro's Wally. looks like we're just getting the lobby underway here. It will be battle on the boardwalk. This is a map that has just gotten into the map pool. It is a very aggressive map to play on. Overall, it's a very scrunched up map. It's the opponents are very close to each other. And it's just very aggressive, especially with that boardwalk area. That is the real point of contention, especially in these ZVZ battles. You can definitely see that is where a lot of the Lings are going to die gruesome, gruesome deaths as they fight for the upper hand and that upper base not the upper base expansion, but they will be fighting for that high ground vision. They can elect to go around to attack the third base location. That is a bit more risky, especially if the player decides to go for a 2-base all-in. Then you're really wasting your time there, but other than that, there is that third base, which is very, very far away. Pretty difficult to defend, but it does have those rocks to help out for the early game. Problem is, you might invest a lot to get up there, and then once you get it all set up, boom, dead. Everything is kaput. That's how risky it is to take that location, especially in ZVZ, where your opponent can go for drop plays with those dropper lords, which is very relatively inexpensive. But enough about me. Let's not forget the overlay, guys. Spawning in the top position, it is Varun 5's Demilove. He also represents OSC Elite, if you guys have not seen. And his opponent, already going for another 12 pool, just like last game. It's Wally. So while we're waiting for those Lings, you can kind of see these will be the major points of contention here, where these Zelnaga towers are. There are these little choke points where I believe they are high ground. I can't necessarily remember if they are, but once you get up there, you can start to attack your opponent directly. Get to that second base location relatively easily. It can be very difficult to defend, especially if, like Dimmy, you're going for a 17 hatch versus a 12 pool. This is going to be very dangerous for him here. Even behind this, he's going to be going for that gold expansion. Going to get some sweet, juicy minerals. So once again, we're going to have to see those drones pulled. We're going to have to see a lot of lost mining time for Demi, and that's essentially what Wally wants. Demi does get a good scout off, though, with that Overlord. Since the locations are so close, it's pretty easy to see. And we will be seeing no spines, because you can't build them just yet. But the drones will have to be pulled. Hatchery starts to go down. No pulls just yet, but here we go. Just waiting for those 6 Lings to hatch. 8 so far with 1 queen. That's all he can really afford on this economy right now. So he has to be very careful not to lose many drones here, otherwise he is going to be in a world of hurt. That hatchery getting lower and lower, trying to get the surround, is Demi. Far it's working, but he is starting to lose a bit too many drones here. Wally does take the advantage. He saves the base, but loses 6 drones in the process. At what cost? At what cost there, Demi? Base has been taken. The drones have been transferred. So it does look like Demi will start to move around. Kind of take the different routes this map does allow him to take. Even just going to go for the rocks, it looks like. Let's see where these guys are positioned. Yep. He's going to start beating down those rocks, try and get to that natural base. And like I said, it's going to be very difficult to defend that, I feel, just because you can't really get that creep down there. And Wally has just been full minerals this entire time, so he will not have speed on any lings. So we'll have to see if Demi can cancel that before really any defenses go up there. But so far, a semi-passive game past that early aggression. Neither player really overcommitting to any form of aggression. Well, Demi taking that back path, of course. So we'll have to see how long it takes him to break those down as he gets to the safety baneling nest behind this. But yeah, we have moved on to the second stage of the game. Wally probably will not be able to defend this relatively easily. He's only got about 4 lings there. Spinecrawler will help out, definitely. Getting a couple pickoffs here and there. He probably could have gotten the queen if he was really paying attention, but it does look like Demi has opted to ignore speed. Now that is quite an interesting choice. It does tell me that he might be saving up that gas for something else. But he does get a full surround, does Wally, and all of these lings will go down. That is not very good, especially now that Wally is going to commit very heavily to this aggression. And he will move across the map with everything. He's got Demi. Has to throw down a couple of spine crawlers, but it does look like Wally will be there before they're done. Banelings will have to suffice for now. Just forcing Wally back. Getting some really nice Baneling connections, actually. Going to take out a huge chunk of health on those guys, but those second ones, not good at all. Still great connections. Going to make sure a lot of these Banelings do get taken out before the main fight. Wally getting some great ones as well. All the drones are pre-split. So Wally actually not really getting much for his trouble. Only 4 drones going down. Demi still has the lead in that regard. Try and pull him around though is Wally, and he's doing a decent job of it, even though he's not really going to get too much for his troubles. And it does look like a successful hold from Demilove for so far. Wally though is going to keep the pressure up, just ling after ling after ling. Neither side feeling comfortable enough to drone up behind this, even though Demi did get his lair. There is no tech behind it. These hitting guys from Wally though could do some damage if Demi wasn't already there. Nice connections. I'm gonna prevent those guys from finishing. The aggression is just going to continue up here. Those Banelings, a lot of them coming in. Free sprint on those drones once again. Wasting a lot of Banelings on Demi's own. But still getting great connections here. As this base actually will not go down. Transfuse is going down, but it does go down. Oh, I've said go down so many times in that engagement. It doesn't feel worth it anymore. But Wally has done a good job. He's held that income-rich natural at the gold base expansion, and he's just going to keep the aggression up here as he goes for a 3rd base. So Demi's starting to be in a little bit of trouble here. He's still doing great on the defense so far. He hasn't really taken much other than that hatchery going down. But still, losing your natural when you don't really have that many larvae to work with, especially when you need lings like yesterday. This is not looking good, actually. Baneling's going off on that queen. Could have actually killed it off. But yeah, it looks like Wally is actually just going to go for the kill. And GG is called. Yeah, so Wally looking very strong, very aggressive in these games. He wants to get it done. He's got better things to do than deal with scrubs. Not calling any of these guys scrubs, by the way. They are all excellent players. Oops. Let's take care of that. So with that, the score is officially 3-1. 2 more, and it is game over. For these players. So SYF is going to be ahead in that, but Varun could stage the comeback. They still have a very strong roster. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what they could do here. Let me see who else they have in the lobby as well. Kind of see. A little bit of fun going on in the chat while we're waiting. But the one thing that is definitely worrying for Varun 5 is even if they do take out Wally, they still have one of the best Terrans in the region, Hut, to contend with. Crimson, really exceptional Zerg player. Like, you can say a lot about the guy. He has taken out some very, very good guys in moving up in the world, getting some very high finishes in these regional tournaments. One problem with SYF though is they are very Zerg heavy, so if one of the Varun 5 players knows how to take out a Zerg, it's gonna all come down to Hut. And it looks like Vaj will be the next guy. Another ZVZ, guys. Aren't they awesome? We do need a quick reboot here. It does appear as though that there needs to be some updates to drivers, which is understandable. But the next map will be Neon Violet Square. Again, a new map on the pool. This is one of the interesting ones. See, in the middle of the map, you have a bunch of 1x1 unpassable doodads. And what those basically do is make your opponent's units go in 1x1. Hurrah, hurrah. And that can be quite difficult in these Ling engagements when you're trying to get those Baneling connections early on. It can make it quite tough to get the connections you want. Especially since those chokes are going to be scattered across the map. There is not much strength in going for air on this map either, just because the main base is a bit smaller than a natural macro, but you do have that pocket expansion, which has only half the mineral count of a normal map. But it is still a bit safer to take. And I mean, if you're a Zerg player, there is the possibility that you take that just so you can get that third base out there. Not necessarily for the mineral count, but just for the larva, which again can be very, very useful when you're trying to do defender's advantage, as a million roaches are knocking on your door. Later on, you can obviously knock down the rocks in the middle to get a bit of an easier way towards the forward expansions. But that won't happen in the early stages with just Lings, because if you're wasting time knocking down those rocks, it is like you are going to lose a lot of valuable time that you could be using killing drones. But if we're taking a look at ZVZs on this map, about 78 have been played in big size tournaments since its inception. Only 8 of those being ZVZs. Majority of them, it looks like, have actually been PVZs. Have the Actually no, TVZ has the most. With 25 games played, uh, ZVP has 18 games played with a straight even 50% win rate, while with the 8 ZVZs that have been played, I think Zerg has a 100% win rate in that. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. What do you think, Ed? There is a cat just kind of staring at me. It's making it very hard to concentrate because he's giving me the evil eyes. It's his nap time. As is all cats. But let's just hop into game, guys. Get this game underway. Spawning down here in the bottom position. He's up 2 games in this best of 9 series. It's Wally. And his opponent. Spawning in the top position. He's looking to take him out with what he knows best. It's Vaj. V-O-J. So yeah, taking a look at the middle of the map, these are all blockers with 1x1 squares, so you can't get through there without a little bit of effort. Obviously, wait, am I lagging out, or, you know, I feel like I'm going insane here because I thought there were rocks right here. Did they actually remove those? Can someone tell me? Because I feel like the only way you could get through was... Okay, I might be going insane. I apologize, guys. I thought I knew this map, but it appears that either something has changed or I am just completely dumb. Well, actually, both of those can be true. It does not really matter. We do see spawning pools, hatcheries for both players, so it is going to be a relatively different open than we've been seeing out of Wally. Instead, going to be going for a little bit of a more macro style for this very early game. We'll have to see if he decides to just switch it back into his normal, highly aggressive builds here in a moment. As soon as his spawning pool is done, we'll see how heavily he commits to those early lings, and if Vaj can really stop it if he does decide to go for heavy aggression. So far, just the standard 6, both players droning up behind it. So Wally kind of giving Vaj a little bit more respect than his previous opponents, making sure that he's playing it a bit safe, but he will be the first to move out on the map. Vaj is going to just send out a couple of scouting lings, see if his opponent is coming across, which he will get a good glimpse of. Even those doodads preventing Wally from getting us around off. That is not safe for stream. But Wally is going to come down into this small choke point. He will possibly just hang out here until his Baneling nest is done. Morph a couple of lings, of Banelings rather. Just try to see what he can get done. As Vaj gets a relatively good scout off, he sees pretty much everything while he's not trying to hide it. But I mean, Vaj has seen the last couple of games. I assume he kind of knows what to expect as he throws down his third base. In that location that I was talking about, there is only half minerals, but it is a bit safer, especially in these early games. Bailey's gonna come in. The Queen starting to take a bit of damage. Decent hits, not the best for Wally, but right there, getting 3 drones. That was very nice. And now Vaj is going to try and push Wally back through the center of the map. Now Wally is on the defense here, losing a lot of lings. Not really what you want happening. And he's also going up to his own third base, one of the more standard third bases for forward aggression. And just kind of more forward overall. See Vaj being pushed back. And now we kind of see that little seesaw battle coming up. Neither side can really get a huge advantage, but Wally just made the first mistake, I feel. Used up a lot of larva for the next big swell of drones, and that might come back to hurt him, as Vaj did get 14 more lings of finishing up on the production tab. They will get spotted if they go this way. Oh boy. Those will not finish. Still a nice move here by Vaj, trying to get something done, I feel. Catching the Banelings in the middle of the map, that's a nice call there for Vaj as well. As his lings go around, Wally is completely out of position. And there is enough here to defend for Vaj. This is nice. He has to attack with all of them, though, for it to be super nice. But this will force Wally to come home to defend. Oh, only taken 3 drone losses so far, but he's going to move in here. Full position micro, going to try and take out a couple more. So far not getting anything, Wally's doing a relatively good job of fitting his guys. But here comes the swell. You thought there was going to be a calm before the storm. Actually, that works. Calm before the swarm. That was pretty much it. Over 11 Banelings on the tab, 1 Roach as well. He's kind of all on his own. He doesn't have any Roach buddies to help him out. Decent connection here, gets about 5 lings. But what will Wally do here? All these Banelings gonna move up. Huge connection. Wally actually gets what he needs to defend. And once again, Wally just getting those lucky connections. And 8 drones do go down. So while Wally did get a majority of those Banelings with some excellent connections, he's still in a bit of a pickle here in terms of connections. But Vaj is seriously against the clock now, as the Roaches have begun to spring for Wally. Going for that 4th base. That's very nice, as there is a 20 worker deficit for Vaj. He has committed so much to this. The whole position micro getting 8 more workers. And those are the kind of moves he needs to get back into it. This game is just so seesaw at the moment. Both players really getting some lucky connections here and there. Just kind of springing the trap once again, but Vaj not falling for it just yet. Since a couple of scouting lings, and the point of contention is at Wally's ramp, which is really what Vaj wants. Like he hasn't had a huge chance to get out of this just yet. He's been droning up like crazy trying to make up for that worker lead. He does not have a huge amount of mineral fields behind this, but he's making it work. Income is completely even for both sides. And yeah, Vaj is kind of just making sure that his opponent can't really move out on the map without being spotted, without being kind of harassed, attacked. It's gonna hurt Wally a little bit here as Vaj does start to power up. Wally's saving grace is the fact that he does have more Roaches and that +2 Evo chamber upgrade coming in. It does look like Wally has reached that critical moment where he's just gonna kind of cut drones for a little bit and focus solely on making army units. Even just catching these lings on the map. Does not really want to lose these, as these are Vaj's only map presence. But they have done their job of buying a lot of time for Roaches to get up. Looks like Wally is going to try and hit that +2 timing as he moves across. And we'll have to see what he can get done. Defender's advantage is going to be very strong at this stage in the game, especially with these positions. Trying to get up that 4th base is Vaj. And it's going to all go off on that hatchery. Not going to really get much for him. But will Wally be able to knock this down? Vodge does not have a lot of roaches right here just yet. But those Ravager Biles also not doing too much, unfortunately. It's got to force Wally into that choke point. But it does look like Wally has been pushed back for the moment. And that's one of the things about these choke points here. It can be very difficult to push in as the attacking player. But again, Wally is just going to stay aggressive here for the most part. He really wants to keep the aggression on Vodge's side of the map now that he's pushed out. It is currently 114 to 96. Those Ravager Biles doing a decent job of keeping Wally back for the moment. Really, Vodge just needs to buy time. Almost. Defender's advantage will help him out greatly. This is a weird angle for him to be attacking in. But that +2 attack is actually doing a relatively decent job. Fortunately, though, it does look like Vodge is getting a few Ravager Biles of his own on top of himself. And that is actually not looking too bad. You know, Vodge did deal a lot of damage to these guys, so if he can get his reinforcements, he won't be able to save this base, but dancing roaches. It does look like this might actually be it. It is 88 to 48. That +2 timing is the only thing that could save him, but there's just not that much time left for it. Fourth base of Wally is going up. He's getting 6 drones to saturate it. That's pretty much all you need. Can't go too far out with these guys. Oh, actually, that upgrade did get contaminated. That is an excellent use of that ability. And the big problem is you cannot allow Wally to get through this choke point. If he is allowed to get through there, that's when it gets super dicey. But this is the one saving grace of Vodge, is this choke. Even now, just adding Hydralisk for that DPS. Wally is just going to move around. Vodge did decide to pick off a couple of units here to try and get some harassment done on the other side of the map. But Wally is looking unstoppable in these games. And once again, he's just being very aggressive here. Vodge positioning as though that fourth base is going to be the point of contention. But no, it does look like Wally is going to just kind of show himself at the main ramp towards that natural. Even lurkers on the way. Will he be able to get up that ramp? It is yet to be seen. That +2 attack has finished for Vodge, but looks like Wally is just going to move right on up here, using the Biles to forward his advance. That Roach Warren goes down. And with that down, there are no reinforcements for Vodge. What you see is what you get. Fourth base goes down as well. It looks like Vodge is starting to be on his last legs here. You know, his income is starting to fall apart. He's starting to lose this base. Main is almost not mined out. His natural starting to get low here. They did change it a little bit in terms of economy to kind of prevent that sort of thing early on, but yeah, what really will Vodge do? He's lost so much time in making units. His army is looking pretty strong overall. You know, he hasn't fallen super behind, but just the amount of tech coming out of Wally might be just the finishing blow. These Hydralisks can morph into lurkers at any time, and that just makes it so difficult to move into as Vodge, so he won't really be able to do too much. And even the infestation pit as well. Go up to Hive Tech and get those infestors. Wasting a lot of Ravager Biles here, and this looks to be one of the last engagements. Vodge being very careful not to lose those Ravager Biles, but Wally is going to be pushing in here. Once that fourth base goes down, that is really Avaj's last lifeline in this game. Well, he will be pushed back for the moment. It's 111 to 106. There's some good battles going off for Avaj. Those are keeping him in it. But the Hydras can now get on top of those Ravagers, which do not have armor. And on the retreat, even losing a couple more is Vaj. Those huge battles, however, it's going to take out a lot of Wally's army. That may have helped out a little bit. And in fact, that is going to have Wally's entire army almost cleaned up here. So this game, guess what, guys? It will go on. But 26 workers, roaches, they could be workers if they wanted to, but they chose a different path in college. 11 Ravagers. Pardon me, I am very bad at speaking English. Never use it, guys. It is a very bad language, even though it's the only one I know. But 11 Ravagers, 2 Lurkers. It's a bit hard to say that Vaj can really stay in this game much longer. He's struggling for income here. Usually it's good that you don't have a bank in SE2, but unfortunately he's just not able to get what he needs. Not able to spend it on those larvae efficiently. And here we go once again. Wally is going to move in those Lurkers, being completely untouched, zoning out those Ravagers of Vaj, and this is the final push. Wally will take it for SYF Gaming to match point. So Wally is just on an all kill tonight. It's currently 4-1 to SYF Gaming. Best of 7? You think best of 7? That would be it. But guess what, guys? It's a best of 9. So Varun 5 has one more chance to take it out. Actually, it does look like there is one thing going on here. One moment. Actually, it does look like Demilov has decided to forfeit the final game. They might not be able to have gotten their player. So that's actually going to be it. It is a best of 7 tonight, guys. That makes the overlay actually work. But once again, we'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. It always means a lot when you guys come out here to watch some awesome StarCraft 2. And like, we really hope you guys come back once again for another exciting edition. Next week will be the finals, and that will be 1F Pro. Obviously gonna look to extend it versus their opponents, and we should be seeing some epic games. If you guys don't know as well, we also have Pro League coming up this week. That is played on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I believe. That is not SSAC, but it's still some great Southeast Asia StarCraft. And yeah, once again, I am Pastor 2300. I'm like that on Twitch and Twitter, so if you want to hit a follow there, on either. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next time.